Demon's Souls is a fantastic looking game in HDR, but if you're counting on native HDRG support, then unfortunately I have to say...
Computer says no.
Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel Amok for All, and as always before we start, if you're new to this channel, do me a big favor and subscribe now, I would much appreciate it. Thank you very much. And again, unfortunately, Demon's Souls does not support HDRG natively. I haven't seen any sign of native support from HDRG, and also of course it doesn't matter at all what you set in this menu from the PlayStation 5, it will not have any impact on the game. And since I discovered the Black Level Rise on Assassin's Creed Valhalla on my Xbox Series X, I'm doing this test all the time. I'm looking for raising blacks when HDR is activated, and I can just confirm that on my LG CX brightness 50 is still black. I have to increase this to almost 60 to see a difference. Right now, of course, in a very dark room you can see a difference around 51, 52 already, but 50 is perfect OLED black on my LG CX. Okay, so let's try to answer the question if you should use HDRG or not. And sorry for the dark picture, but that's the only way to show you what is actually going on my screen. So even the game is not natively supporting HDRG on the OLED TV, on the LG OLED TV is doing a great job at this very scene from the very beginning from the game. So we have this very dark tunnel, and at the end of the tunnel there's the end from the tunnel, which we have a lot of fog or mist, and we have this very bright sky. HDRG is activated, and when I'm turning this off and on, so on, off, you should actually see a difference in brightness. So what HDRG is doing at this moment, it is just brighten up the fog and the sky. And we are not losing any details, we're gaining details actually. We can see much clearer that there is white fog, and we can actually better see that there are some clouds on the sky. With dynamic tone mapping on, as always, it will just blow out the whole picture, which you're losing, you're not just losing the nice contrast from HDRG over in this nice tunnel, because now everything is really bright, and of course you can see a little bit more details probably, but again, what happened here is this is just a white blurry whatever. You can't see actually that there is a nice sky. You can't barely see this nice fog moving around. With HDRG, you're losing overall brightness, yes, but you're gaining much more, or you gain much more details at the end, where it is actually important to have the details, in my opinion. So again, at this scene, HDRG is a clear winner in my opinion. So let's move to another scene. Okay, so different scene, and we're looking at clouds again, because clouds are a very good example on how HDR is actually working. And at this very moment, dynamic tone mapping on brings out more details from these clouds. But also note that dynamic tone mapping on is actually darker than HDRG at the moment, and this is because how dynamic tone mapping is working. And I will do very soon a video about dynamic tone mapping and how it is working and why you shouldn't use it at all, in my opinion. Because as always, what happened when we don't have any bright objects in the picture? Dynamic tone mapping is over brighten the picture. Can you see this? And this is not how the game looks like. If you turn off HDR and you play this in SDR, this will be the brightness. It's not this one, okay? If you like to have a different brightness or more brightness, there are a couple of options in the menu, and we are talking about this now. Okay, so let's talk about the display options from this game, and I would really strongly recommend to play this game in the performance mode, because the visual difference between the quality and the performance mode is very minor in my opinion, but you gain plus 30 frames per second, so you change your frame rate from 30 to 60 frames, which is a huge benefit in my opinion. And if you play the game in performance mode, so make sure you turn off motion blur, which I really don't like. If you're a fan of this, of motion blur, then of course keep it on. The same film grain for me is a no-go. If you like it, keep it on. Visual filters, this is something what you should consider if you think the game is too dark. And we have the visual filter bright here. And when we're changing this to 100, what happened, of course, the picture is crazy bright. This is still HGHG, by the way. So you can adjust the brightness, but also you will lose, of course, a lot of details when you're doing this. So maybe this is just our opinion, or maybe just a little helper in very dark scenes, or maybe just something around 30. But even then you gain a lot of brightness, but you lose a lot of details in very bright objects, in my opinion. So I'm not a big fan of those filters, so I left everything off. And now let's talk about my display settings here. Okay, so let's talk about my brightness, contrast and saturation settings. And I haven't touched contrast at all, but I changed brightness to +1 because really the game is dark and I needed a little bit more brightness. Even I'm playing almost in a pitch black room. The only thing what is on is my LED stripes sometimes, but the game is so dark and I need a little bit more. So +1, maximum +2, because the problem is the more brightness you change here, and I just show you this in extreme settings, you also will lose all the nice details when it comes to HDR effects, like bright objects like the clouds or the fire and stuff like this. Okay, so make sure you don't put too much brightness in. +1, maximum +2, what I found is okay. And also saturation, I changed it. And usually I'm a big fan of a calibrated display. So my TVs are calibrated and I like this how it is. D65, REC 709 or BT2020 is the way to go for me. But this game is so, how should I say, so bluish in my opinion. It's so boring. I changed this actually to +2. It's not a big difference, but at least you put a little bit more color to the game, which helps me a little bit because, it's not helping me, but I think it is a better visual effect, or the game looks more friendly to me because this game is a very dark game, and of course it's supposed to be a dark game, but at least a little bit more color, and with saturation on +2, it's really, really nice. So again, I haven't touched contrast because I found contrast is really set to the right level. I changed brightness to +1 or +2, which is, hopefully you can see this effect at the moment, which is not too bad, and saturation +2, which makes the red a little bit more reddish. Okay, so that's for this video. Thank you very much for watching me, and I hope I did not forget anything to mention, and if I did so, please put it in the comments, and also put in the comments what you think about this game, about HGHG, about dynamic tone mapping on or off, and make sure you subscribe to my channel because my next video project will be why you shouldn't use dynamic tone mapping in games at all, and this will be a very interesting video. So, thank you very much again. I see you next time. Take care. Bye.